slow, though your answer was trite. I reached for the phone, but couldn't vent it. You won't know my brain as you unclog the drain. Don't run it. Yet my virtue's not promising. Yeah, I thought you were harnessing. You're gone giving artistry. You're gone giving artistry. Why should I just walk away for you to come around another day, waiting for the time we will collide, when I meet you on the other side? Why should I just walk away for you to come around another day? Keep you in the side of my eye. It may be on the other side.
I was watching with my roommate. It was approximately several minutes after the first plane had hit. I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
Obviously, there were a lot of people inside the buildings at the time.
Two guys from the 7th precinct, the 1st precinct, the fire department right here, the 7th truck, those guys are all right there at ground zero when those things went down. And God bless, I know there's a lot of guys there that were around there.
And we're live. We're finally back. I am Ronnie James Harris. This is the Limitless Channel, and I'm joined by the co-host with the absolute most, Jason Laufenberg from the Awake Souls YouTube channel. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. For a night where we're getting super trolled, I'm still like super jazzed up. I think we got some fun stuff in store tonight. That was such a fun intro. We had to fight to get it out, everybody. This wasn't easy. It was a battle. My computer went through it like an hour ago when I was trying to get the Hangout up, and I had to do the forced reboot and stuff. Ronnie's got super smashed. And
not my computer, the TV, actually, the TV. And I can hear that fan. It's kind of annoying, but hopefully you guys don't hear it too loud. But yeah, the TV was actually sketching out. It wouldn't connect. We tried everything. And finally I knew we just had to have a little bit of patience and fashionably late, as we don't say ourselves. No, I'm kidding. I'm definitely not a narcissist. The only reason why I even show my face on camera is because Jason said that if you're willing to be a man of truth and stand up for the truth, you should be able to put your face and your name behind the words that you say. Because if you want absolute truth, you shouldn't have anything to hide behind. So that's why I'm out here. This has never been about Ronnie, you know, and his pursuit of pearls. This has been about the pursuit of truth, the pursuit of love, the pursuit of happiness. And at the end of the day, I only want to be on here on camera so that people can get to know me, because anyone that's trying to lead people to truth should be very personable, and they should, you know, meet face to face. Like when we hang out together, I feel like you guys are a part of the team. Each and every one of you guys, even the people that watch later that don't actually message, they're not in the chat. You guys are all still a part of the team. Jason, how you doing? How was your week? Let's talk quickly about how the week was before we get. I know it's 8:30, but whatever. How was your week?
Yeah, let's not worry about time tonight. Let's lay out. So based off of what Ronnie said right there, I was ready to respond with something as far as how we need to own certain things. So Ronnie was talking about how we're not this, we're not that. But at the same time, there's certain things that you need to own in order to be honest. And so we're going to be going through some content tonight that involves some things that we've said that we own. We absolutely own. And they're big pills, big like red pills to swallow. And we're going to show you the reason why we've taken the positions that we have, and why we are willing to stand for these positions, right? Because of our experiences, and because presented with those circumstances, those situations, we've come to certain conclusions and we own them. Like we understand that if we're wrong, we're wrong, right? But one of the things that's made us unique is we're willing to be corrected. So when somebody shows us that we're wrong, we're like, okay, that's fantastic. We'll take all the truth that we've been sharing and we're going to correct it, so it's just going to be a little bit more accurate. So this is literally our goal and what we ask for out of all people that watch. So there's some things that we're going to be owning tonight that, like I said before, they're big red pills to swallow. But, you know, if you don't agree, talk with us about it. Like, we can do this as adults with civil conversation, and it doesn't have to be attack hit pieces like we're doing against Qnfee and Cat tonight. But it's what we're going to ask for, what we've always asked for over and over and over. Qnfee, come debate us. You know how to use the internet, you have a computer. We've talked online before. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. Rosette, Cat, whatever you want to go by. We've talked before, right? We know you. We know you well. So come talk with us. Let's do it publicly. We can do this in this type of civil format right here, where it's question, answer. We can pretend that we're in front of a fire pit on a beach with palm trees swaying. We'll have that set up as the background for the hangout, and we'll do it in a manner like this. But we're going to have the conversation about some truths that we've been talking about, and the position that you're taking and the position that we stand on. and we're willing to defend our position, yet you are not willing to defend yours. So right away, somebody should see an issue with the person that's going contrary but won't defend their position. And yeah, we're gonna make fun of you tonight because you say some stupid stuff, both of you.
Yeah, well, so, you know, just to give a little bit of a backstory, both the characters that Jason's talking about, Kat, who was Rosette Delacroix, and Qnfee, were both actually, you know, friends of mine. People that reached out to us through YouTube that we began being friends. We did Google Hangouts back in the day. That's how everybody met and talked. We did Google Hangouts. I spent many times with Rosette, Kat. I spent many times. She was awesome. I loved hanging out with her. I loved talking to her. Got to know each other, you know, gave her all the truths that we found. She, you know, she came on the podcast. We have the podcasts on our channels that she was on, and they were good. And I just tried to lift her up. I tried to give her enthusiasm. I tried to help her with her editing. You know, we were cool. And, you know, she had been through quite a bit in the truth movement. You know, people went through waves where, you know, people were recording things and using it against people. There was just drama. And what had ended up happening was I had been given a message from, it was Liz McGee, actually, who sent me a message saying that Rosette sounded awfully a lot like Lynn Liaz. So we checked it. We were like, wow, they actually do sound very similar. So I asked Rosette, I said to her, Kat, I said, because I liked hanging out with her. She was a truth seeker. She was someone who did research and met with all the different truthers. Lived in Hawaii. She was awesome. And I said to her, you know, are you this other channel? Someone was saying that you sounded like her. And boom, she just went absolutely crazy on me. Started yelling, freaking out, saying that she was like so upset and mad at me. And then she blocked me. She said sent a bunch of messages to Jason. No, she didn't send anything to you.
Well, I witnessed all of this. No, she wouldn't talk to me.
She didn't send anything to you. Yeah, you got blocked
first. I got blocked from her on Zoom right away.
Right away.
Mm-hmm. And that was it. There was no more correspondence. That was the end. Just bringing up that she sounded like Lynn Liaz.
Lynn Liaz.
And that was it. She right out the door, and we didn't hear another word from her.
And she was helping us build a website. She was very interested in helping promote TEAMYAHAWASHI. She was coming up with these things, and I was looking at the code, and she was teaching me, but we never actually got to actually publishing it. Now, she had some issues with the map. She kept bringing up that she didn't believe that you could somehow travel from one side of the map to the other. That was her big thing, and I was like, Kat, like, it's really simple. It's the exact same way that we were taught as 6-year-olds in geography class, or 8-year-olds, or whatever year you started geography. When you get to the edge of the map with your ruler, you can simply move to the corresponding spot on the other side of the map, and you continue your course. You continue your path. That's how you plot and navigate using maps. Any map, except for the retarded AE. Freemason, New World Order, Flying Pizza, in outer space map model. That, you don't have to have the repeating sides, because everything is supposedly circling like this, even though everything goes like this. But we had everything all laid out. Kat was on the team, and then all of a sudden, boom. Go ahead.
Kat was TEAMYAHAWASHI, and we had Qnfee all during the same time. He wasn't TEAMYAHAWASHI. Qnfee was always
very anti-religious. You know,
anti-religious.
I was his friend. Someone trolled me or something, and he like stood up and defended me. And he, you know, it's interesting because the star chart map. So everyone knows the way that I found the stereographic star chart map was because Bob and Cammy Nodell shared a similar star chart. I took a screenshot of it, and then I searched Google for that screenshot, and I was able to find this chart, and it was Qnfee. Q Network File Explorer, or whatever he goes by. He actually helped me with some of the coloring of it. We had, what was it called? Photoshop, I guess it was.
Yeah, because Qnfee knows Photoshop, like old Photoshop.
That's what he does. He restores people's photographs for them for a living. He's really good at it. Me and him became friends. He had a really cool bird. He likes marijuana. I was a marijuana grower when I lived in Canada. He was a marijuana guy, and we talked. He shared all of his knowledge. He's super smart guy, able to hack, able to do all kinds of things with the computer.
Well, and he was a P900 photographer.
Well, he had the P, was it the P700? I don't know if he ever had the...
500.
500. But he still rocked it. He's got great footage. We still actually share Qnfee footage. I've used it in podcasts. People just don't even know. He was a cool guy. He was part of the team. He was on your podcast, the P1000. What did you guys call it? The Flat Earth Photographers podcast. And
Flat Earth Photographers.
You, Mikhail, and Qnfee, you guys did the first podcast where you started showing people how you were filming the clouds behind the sun, how you used the camera to film stars. We should do a podcast like that. I don't know why you don't have a poll going tonight, Jason, but I guess we were...
It's because your mom can't, like... be a moderator if we have a poll.
Yahawa's daughter? I mean, so yeah, somehow we'll have to figure out how to show her how to close that. But so yeah, we need to come up with more topics. But Qnfee was a part of the team. He was great. He was helpful. He did great footage. And then all of a sudden, also he was the AE map debunker. He went through it, found a bunch of things that were wrong with it. Actually, Qnfee is the guy who went and took the AE map model Freemason New World Order PSYOP Pizza Flying in Outer Space map, and he made it high resolution. He took it into Photoshop and he literally painted everything and added more texture to the lines and completely did all the different things, and he restored that and put his Qnfee tag on the map itself. So all these flat earthers are actually going around sharing the map that Qnfee restored. It's a retarded map too. There's like 100 and something spelling mistakes on it. There's so much wrong with it. The outside ring that the sun and everything would take is 60,000 miles. The sun would literally have to go woof, woof. Oh, I broke. That's why no one can hear me. Can you guys hear me now? I never lost it. Can you guys hear me? I think everyone can hear me. Can you hear me, Jason?
No,
what?
I cannot hear you.
Okay, something's wrong with your end, brother, because I'm good. You see my sounds? Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
You finally unmuted. Yes, thank you.
Hey, come on, man. We had technical issues. Something went off.
You're muted again.
He keeps muting me.
Yeah, you're muted.
I'm not muted anymore. Stop it. So did anyone hear any of my rant? All of it was just gone?
Well, it was like 10 seconds after I was flailing my arms at you.
Yeah.
That,
nobody heard the rant?
No.
Oh. So what I was saying was the AE map and model is 63,500 and some odd miles. Don't quote me exactly on that. At the outer ring. So for the sun, as it moves on its outer path, as the AE map and model would need, going like this, the sun would have to speed up like 5 times its speed to cover that amount of distance. This is the problem when you have a sun that supposedly takes an inside path around a tighter circle and a wider outside path. The sun speed has to drastically change to keep the same amount of times. That's why when you have the stupid slider on the AE map, the Q and look, I can tell you what time it is. Yeah, that's fine for a snapshot. You taking a star trail of where the sun is. When you actually try to plot out the sun speed and you put it on the AE map and you move it out to the tropics, you're going to see that the sun would have to go way faster than 24,000 miles an hour, right? If the map is 24,000 miles, it goes 24,000 miles an hour. That way you have 1 day and 24,000 miles in 1 day, 24 hours. 1,000 miles an hour, 24,000 mile Earth. The way that the map works, like I was saying to Rosette, just like in a video game, you have borders. Yahawa said he hath created the borders and the divisions. He created the spot where that's it. You can't go anywhere else. When you get to this part of the map, you come back on this side of the map. When you get to this part of the map, you come back on that. This is the parameters that this realm was set on, right? And they knew that back when they created games like Asteroids. There's multiple different games. Pac-Man is one of them, but Pac-Man has specific channels where it can go back and forth. Whereas this realm, you can go in any direction. Just like that's how they were able to fool people saying you can circumnavigate the Earth, therefore it's a ball. No, that doesn't mean it's a ball. Absolutely not, because water doesn't conform to a spinning ball. The fact that it's a simulation, and the intelligent people actually know this. They know this because this is how you program it into video games. This is exactly how it works. It just has its set up boundaries, and we go back and forth through that. Again, so if we were on the AE map, the sun going around the outside tropic, when it was at its most furtherly south path, for the north, it's winter time. The sun would literally have to whip by in the sky to make that distance around it would now be 45,000 miles around, where we know that the day takes 24 hours. It takes 24 hours for the sun to go at its midday point above you, and then to come back up again at its midday point the next day. It's always 24 hours. This fact alone completely destroys the AE mappa model.
We're talking about a whole bunch of facts without having the graphics up, and tonight we've got tons and tons of graphics to go through that we can have our timestamps attached to a certain graphic and talk about it, and we can have somebody come debate us on our words related to that graphic. And so we're really giving, if you're out there and you want to debate Ronnie and I on anything that we're saying right now, we're going to attach timestamps to graphics and say we're willing to debate this against you, and let's go. So whoever you are, preferably somebody that's got a PhD or a master's or a double master's or triple master's or something like that, these are the people, especially if they're attached to the media, if they're like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or an Elon Musk or any one of these characters. If you want to defend anything that is in conflict with the things that we're talking about, let's have that debate. We really do want to have that. And so the reason for tonight is the infiltrators of Kat or Rosette and Qnfee, people that we've worked with in the past. One was a TEAMYAHAWASHI member, the other one is an anti-Christian. So we were never super close to Qnfee in that sense, because we always knew that, you know, unless if he was working towards salvation, that if you don't work towards it, it's not going to happen. It doesn't happen by accident. You actually have to literally work for it. So these people were in the closed circle, where when we started with Beyond Flat Earth, it wasn't like Qnfee was involved. You were involved with him before you knew me. I knew Qnfee separately before I knew you. And Clouds Behind the Sun is really what literally tied the three of us together, you, Qnfee, and myself. And so that's how we began working together in this whole thing. And all of our conversations, I just couldn't understand how Qnfee, this whole time we're telling him we're in a simulation, and he was debunking the AE mappa model. And I'm like, not only is the AE mappa model debunked, but we're showing how it goes around the observer, and that proves that we're in a simulation. He absolutely would not go there. Now, Kat, on the other hand, had actually said, yes, we are in a simulation. And so she did a recent video where she absolutely recants on that, and then tries to throw us, TEAMYAHAWASHI, under the bus. And she puts up the map that we've been sharing with everybody, the stereographic map. And so we're going to go through her video, which is going to be real short. We don't need to talk about any of the other nonsense in her video, just the area that she's talking about us. And then she makes an attack on me where I'm going to have to own something, and I'll definitely own it. And then we'll move into Qnfee's video, which is sort of supposed to be like a debunk video of TEAMYAHAWASHI, which for the people that watch us, they really haven't seen many people try to do this before. And Qnfee's done it a couple of times. We're going to show people how weak and really bad super infantile these arguments are, and just it's not even like he was trying. So what we're going to do is go through his video. We'll speed it up a little bit. We'll stop. We'll break it down. We'll show people. This is going to be a learning moment of, if you haven't seen us go through the map as to how to use it, how to understand it. Like if you were literally going to try to use this map to go somewhere on Earth, understanding how you would use this map. So there's a lot of content to go through tonight, and I don't know that we'll be able to cover it all. This really seems to me like it's going to be an ongoing discussion for a while, where even though the poll hasn't been up, we gave the AE map and model debunk a few shots, and you know what, I'm just going to guess that if we had the poll up, everybody's going to ask for proof that we're in a simulation. I'm going to guess that because I feel like it's super important for people to understand this information, because all of your life decisions should be based off of this knowledge.
Well, straight up. If anybody's not following me on Facebook and you're not seeing the posts that I've been making, you're absolutely missing out, where I've been absolutely laying down pure manifesting power. I've been posting for a while now about how good oysters are to eat. Right? I've been saying it over and over again that we live in a simulation. Your thoughts dictate your reality. They tend to manifest. These are things that we've been saying for a long time now. And what I've been constantly saying is we live in a simulation where your choices then affect the way that it's a choice-based game, right? People have played the multi-choice place games. I love them. You get a list of options, boom, I'm going to take C or X or B or whatever. You choose that option, boom, a program runs. This is exactly what takes place in this place. Except this is a supernatural realm with unlimited, limitless amounts of possibilities. I've been saying that the oyster is a parable of how this place is a simulation. You have to dive into the ocean. You have to swim down to the bottom. You have to dig out, shuck out one of these oysters. You have to swim back up to the surface. Like, picture this without scuba gear and all the technology. You get a bucket of these things. You got to get it back to shore. You got to crack it open. Then you got to dig it out. And oftentimes you actually find a pearl inside of it. This beautiful treasure. And we went somewhere and I actually had a pearl in my oyster today. So I've been trying to show people, actually I straight out told people, if you don't understand that this place is supernatural and you live in a more of a simulation type realm, you need to feel a little bit closer to the content that I've been sharing. Now, I've been continuing to push the boundaries with the simulation. We've got the proof of the things like eclipse shadows. We've got the clouds behind the sun, the moon, the rainbows. You can actually see a rainbow with clouds in front of it and behind it the exact same way that we see it. And remember, we tell people that it's like, imagine you have Google glasses on. The sky only renders to you depending on where you are and your position inside the game. You look up at the sky and you see the circle of all the stars, the story. There's a story beautifully cast above you. People have no idea. Everyone goes to satanic, or I don't know, I don't want to call it names. They come up with their own ideas of what the pictures in the sky mean. There's a story playing up there. We're too focused on looking at our computer screens. Nobody cares anymore. You can take this technology, this cell phone, the iPhones, you can go outside, you can turn on Star app, Starry Night. Boom, you can look up and it tells you the story. It's this easy, people. If you don't understand that you're in a simulation, all you need to do is get your Starry app, go outside on a clear night. Now, obviously, if you're northern or somewhere outside of a city, the less amount of city light, the greater amount of the stars you can see. Now, depending also on your latitude. So, let's say the Earth is a square. It's like my iPhone, a rectangle. There's lines that go this way. There's lines that go this way, right? Chunk it into 4 corners, 4 spots, like the scriptures say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wherever you are on this map, you're going to get a different sky. You're going to get the moon face will always be the same. The sun face will always be the same, right? All those 2 luminaries do is cartwheel throughout the sky. They go up and they go down. If you're on the top half of the map, looking south, the stars rise on your left from the east, and they rise up and they set and they go down on the west. If you're on the bottom part of the map, right, you have to look that way, north. Stars are now rising from your right hand. They go up and they go down. This is how we can track the story in the sky. And that is one of the most beautiful things that we could ever have in this simulation. It's a literal story cast up in the sky with twinkly, beautiful lights that dance and sparkle as they move across the sky. If you don't know how supernatural this place is, how are you not looking up at the sky, right? There's this giant lion that rises up in this certain time of the year. There's a virgin, a beautiful woman that rises up just after the lion. There's these different stories that are parabolically weaved throughout time. And this is the thing, when we try to get into a debate with someone who tries to say we're a heliocentrist, when they come at us and we tell them, oh, you've got 4 different directions of movement. The Earth is spinning, wobbling, tilting, swirling, and twirling around the great galactic attractor, who you're calling the black hole, which no one has ever filmed or seen a black hole, by the way. When you look for the actual evidence, where's the picture of the black hole? They can't show it to you. It's a black hole. It doesn't exist. It's not reality. The fact that the stars, Polaris, you can set a post up looking at Polaris from anywhere, again, on this part of the map, the top half. Remember the 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, 4 squares to the map. Anywhere up here, you can look to the north. And you're going to see Polaris. It never moves. It's always stuck there. On the south bottom part, remember these lines go this way. You could go whoop, whoop, find your point.
We have graphics for all this, brother. We don't have to use the phone.
Well, I'm trying to show people in a simple way that they can understand what I'm trying to share with them. So I'll just finish off the rant with this. Eclipse shadows, the fact that it actually projects light where the shadow should be, you actually see the light shape of the eclipse alone destroys any natural thought of what's taking place in the sky. A light cannot cast a shadow of light in atomistic heliocentric worldview. It's impossible. We're talking, this is a supernatural phenomena that takes place. You can go like this, and the shadows that cast between your fingers will show the eclipse on the ground. We went and filmed it. We're going to be going over that next week.
And it shows it in light, not in darkness.
In light.
Actually,
you're not seeing
light.
You're seeing a light shadow. And this is something that we believe is very parabolic. It's something that we've been given this truth to share with the world. We are here speaking it. We're the ones standing up saying, look at this. You see movies like The Matrix, and they use those movies to just hold you at a limited position. We here go limitless. We tell you that this is a supernatural realm. Superpowers are absolutely real. They've been taking place every day. I literally have a pearl to prove it. So I'll stop my rant. I just really wanted to get people, because you put in the title, we live in a simulation and we can prove it, and we absolutely can. Anybody wants to step up. Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I would say Carl Sagan, but he's probably roasting in fire right now. Who else is the top? Brian Cox. Bring it on up, Brian Cox. I'm Welsh. I think Brian Cox might be Welsh. I'm guessing. Let's go. Let's have a debate. Let's talk about your infinite universe theory. Any of these top scientists, if you have a PhD, like Jason said before, even better. But you know what? Not one of these cowards will stand up and debate us. None of them. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, we're too busy. In a real society, people would want to get the pearls. They would want to get the truth. That's what righteousness is. We all we perish due to the lack of knowledge. If that's what it says in the scriptures, obviously you need to learn everything, right? And be as wise as a serpent, yet gentle as a dove.
Yeah, so
Want a screen share?
We get into a screen share?
Sorry, everybody. It's super shout out again to everybody that's in the chat right now. Everybody that's watching from the future. Everyone, we are time travelers. Jason and I, we've been doing this cycle for almost 6,000 years, maybe a bit more now. I'm just letting you guys know this is nothing new for us on TEAMYAHAWASHI. I'm going to do a music bit here, and we will be right back. Let me just switch it over. Oh, the camera was on. You're good. Except you're not full screen.
Yeah, let me so here's the thumb. I gotta get the mouse cursor. So this is Cat the Fryan. Cat the Fryan. I'm screen sharing. So this is Rosette. You can see, let me go to the next tab here. Cat the Fryan. It has Rosette Delacroix website as the website right here. And here's the icon that Cat the Fryan created. It says, "Long live Cat Fryans." There's an S on the end of it in the avatar art. She didn't use the S in the channel name, but this is the same old person that was a TEAMYAHAWASHI member that put out a video recently that was brought to our attention because I wasn't paying attention to Cat the Fryan. And we got a comment from Benjamin, which I want to say thank you for.
Yes, Benjamin gets the bell. Amazing. When anyone shares information where people are talking about us, I just want to say that I absolutely love you, Benjamin. Thank you.
Yeah, both Ronnie and I were super gladdened to see that, because we want to know if somebody's talking about us. And especially from a TEAMYAHAWASHI member, it's so the video was this my thoughts on the awakening process. So when I see the word awaken, it catches my attention because my channel is called Awake Souls. So anything that has to do with the awakening process, I'm super like cued into, because I made the channel in 2012 called Awake Souls because I was into the awakening process.
Yeah, you had a New Ager icon, huh?
I did, yeah.
I'm going to expose you. I actually had screenshots. So when I met Jason, I did the deep dive. I went right in, searched him, searched his name, searched everything about him, and it came back that he was a little bit New Agey. And he had
a little bit. That I was super New Agey. Like what set me straight was flat Earth.
Well, so, and the thing that I found that was the most funny is most of the internet stuff that I could find on you was absolutely the shill ball earth-tards absolutely trying to like cry and whine, like they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off because you had exposed that 345 isn't perfectly divisible. It's not. You exposed it. You did the experiment. This is how I found Jason. The video was taken down.
Irrational.
Right? Yeah, because you can't continue to subdivide it in half. You get to a point where it becomes irrational. It's not equal anymore. It's not a true 90. So, anyways, I found a video that you had taken down, but someone else had absolutely left up. Right? I don't know if it was soundly.
I think it was soundly.
It was soundly, and it said "Awake Souls caught lying," and then so I memed up "soundly caught lying" for years after that. He never lived that down. But so my research on you is that you were a New Ager, which you ended up explaining to me and teaching me and sharing with me the instructor, the doc, who absolutely gave. Sorry, I just peeked out there. Absolutely gave me a super higher perspective on a lot of different things. I really like what the doc had to say. A lot of it. But yeah, so I found Jason this way. He was absolutely, you were hated, brother. You were hated more than me. I was super hated by the FE movement. They hated me. But I still got on Patricia Steer's show. I
got on Glowbusters.
Yeah, I got you on Glowbusters as an absolute setup for so it wasn't on Glowbusters. You showed the wrong map on Glowbusters. And then when you went on,
still stereographic.
Yeah, you brought the whole
stereographic.
Yeah, you just brought the wrong projection.
I didn't have the one that you sent it to me like during the week, from the time I was on Glowbusters, on Sunday one week, to the time that I was on Flat Earth Conspiracy the next Sunday.
Yeah,
like you gave me the
I brought you in
CS Pierce in the middle of the week.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it went down. I remember specifically, because the first one we were starting to understand how it worked. And you know how we got the first one was underwater sea cables. So I was doing my research on people that had used stereographic projections. And lo and behold, the people that ran the cables around the oceans actually used stereographic projections, because newsflash, you absolutely need a stereographic map when you want to try to understand how the flat plane works. This is the way that it was built.
So here's Kat's recent video, and I think it's time stamped up where she goes from something new agey into talking about us. Sorry, my phone will not stay put. And so this is what Kat had to say about
So
us.
wait, just a disclaimer.
Yeah?
I just want to say that I don't have any hard feelings against Kat. I enjoyed her company. I liked talking truth with her. She did seem like she had a passion for truth, and I will say that this isn't about bashing her. There's enough bashing going on in the world. This is us defending our position and absolutely laying down the truth of the situation, not in her. So there's always three perspectives: mine, hers, and the truth. And we'll let you guys come up with which truth you believe.
Yeah, well, I'm going to suggest the conclusion. I'm going to say the conclusions I've come to and the reasons why. And for people that know the scenario, they'll be able to come to their own. And if you don't know the scenario, if you don't know Rosette and you don't know the relationship we had with Rosette, then none of this really makes sense to you. But you're going to see that we have a history of people that have come in that have attempted to be infiltrators to Ronnie and I, where they play a certain part for a certain while, and then all of a sudden they go off and they start saying ridiculous things that are way far away from the truth and super satanic, and then we end up calling them out, and then there's this severance, there's a break from these people, and it's happened many times in the time that we've been doing this.
Can I just repeat that? So what infiltrators do is they come in, they become part of the team, right? They're sharing everything. They're into it. They're super enthusiastic. They come on the podcast. They do this. And then they start saying the things we say, right? And then all of a sudden, what they do is they start saying nonsense. They completely flip it backwards and make it absolutely asinine. That's how infiltrators work, right? So Rosette and Enslaved by No Media are the two most glaring obvious examples of this theory. They both did the exact same thing.
McCall didn't photography.
He didn't go crazy with his content. He stayed with us and then he just quit. So you can't throw. He did not throw us under the bus. He didn't throw out any disinformation. He stayed clean with his channel. I will defend McCall.
You know, and that's cool, because I did like McCall as a person better than the rest of these people. But there's other ones. There's Joe. There's other people that were short. Oh, Blue Blood. So we get the questions. This whole hangout tonight is sort of a really large answer to a question that was posed by Battery 79 in the comments, where I wanted to give an in-depth and detailed response, but obviously to be able to share all of this in a comment was going to be difficult. So this whole live stream is sort of a response as to how these people have come into, our lives and how they've come out, and the stances that they take and the stances that we take. And once again, we understand our position. It's going to be up to you to choose. All right, well, is the team Rosette, the team Qnfee, is that the team you want to be associated with, or TEAMYAHAWASHI? So we'll give you some of the things that they have to say about us. These are the detractors, and there's not many people that are willing to step up and actually
say our names.
Say our names, right? So
yeah. I'm happy that Qnfee shared the map, and so did Rosette or Kat. I'm happy. I love that you guys shared it. Every time you do that, I smile.
So this is what Kat had to say.
Women do have a right to be heard. And then there was Ronnie and Jason, who hated me for deciding their square map model of flat Earth was incorrect.
See, it never went down like that whatsoever. Ronnie said, "Kat, you sound like Lynn the Oz," and I was blocked after that, and there was no more communication. That's how it went down. Never show me where you express to us that this doesn't work. Provide that evidence.
I tried to leave amicably, but they couldn't have it and attacked me.
Yeah, right, amicably,
well,
huh? You snapped on me and blocked us both because I asked you because you sounded exactly like Lynn the Oz. That's it.
And so all there was from us was a report that she was gone. We were blocked. That was the report that we did in the live streams. And we didn't hear nothing from her for a long time. And then all of a sudden she was working with ODD. And it was like the Rosette and ODD show or something like that. But it didn't last long. And then there was nothing for a long time. And now all of a sudden there's the cat is a Fryan. Right. So I guess there's something else. Cat the Fryan. I just want people to think about the name of that channel, Cat the Fryan. So her name is maybe Cat. Who knows what a Fryan is? Has anybody heard of a Fryan before? What is a Fryan? So I decided I wanted to know what a Fryan was. This is the answer. We'll go back to the search. So this is under House of Names. So when you type in Fryans, because that is what is in her logo, Fryans, we can do it without the S as well. You're going to see the same results. So you type in Fryans, go down here, Fryans name meaning, family history and ancestry, Instagram photos. What does the name Fryan mean? Names.org. So this is just reference to a name. So if you click on this one, gives you some of the best imagery here. And so the ancient arms of Fryan. So Fryan is a name whose history dates far back into the midst of early British times to the days of the Anglo-Saxon tribes. It is a name for a person who is considered to be very good-natured and neighborly. The surname is derived from the Old English word friend, which meant friend. During the Middle Ages, people would use this word when they referred to their relatives or kinsmen. So the Fryans is not an organization. It's just a family name. There's no, you can't join the Fryans. Right. So here's just Fryan. Twitter, you got Fryan Republic, Fergus Ryan, Fryan name meaning, family history. You get the image for the Fryans. So let's take a look at who the Fryans are. So they got all these antlers. This is British. It's some sort of British. So it's Cat the Fryan. Apparently she's British royalty. You can't become a Fryan. She's not talking about any sort of group that you could be associated with. It's just really weird to me. And but here's what she has to say about the map that we've been sharing since we started looking for a map. This was just after I joined you on Flat Earth Conspiracy. So we went in with the CS peers, and then right after that, it was like a month later, we had the Ho time.
Still think they are wrong, that we can't magically go from one end where Japan is to the other end where Hawaii.
So that's what the big argument against simulation is. That is literally the argument that we have to fight over and over and over again, that there is no proof that we can magically go from one side of the map to the other, right? And we are going to concede that point. There's no way that you can prove it. You can't sit out here with a camera floating on a buoy where you think the line is and watch half of a plane come in. All right, nobody knows where to go to do that. But we can show how the AE map model is impossible. And that's the only other model that is presented that could be flat. So that is a monopole design where it only has a single northern pole. We know Earth has two poles. And so a stereographic map actually has that. And if you were to print a surface on a 3D globe and try to transfer it down to 2D, this is how you do it. This is literally how you do it. Now, if you were to use a stereographic map like this, that means it could be presented on a 3D sphere without distortion. And so we're going to be keying in on the tropics here, they're in yellow, and the equator, which is in red. We'll also be talking about the prime meridian, the international date line, and how it goes through England, which is where the Fryans are from. So there's some serendipitous connections tonight, but let's keep going.
Hawaii is. On their map, Hawaii would be extreme west, and Japan would be all the way on the other side, extreme east. I'm sorry, but I don't believe we go through some crazy gate we don't see and get beamed up like on Star Trek to the other side of the world. I am not buying it. And we are not in a simulation either. Yes, the sun appears to be within the clouds.
Yes, I admit that you're right, that we can see the cloud and the sun and they're interacting, right?
So this is where it gets crazy, because we were the ones that told Kat to get a P900 at the time and go test this for yourself. And so she went out, she bought the camera, and I think it was the first time she tried recording clouds behind the sun. She got clouds behind the sun, and it was posted to her channel, and we were all there with the hip hip hoorays, and we covered it in live streams, and she was a part of all of that, where she acknowledged she saw the clouds behind the sun. And thankfully she hasn't gone back on that. She's still admitting clouds behind the sun. So there's only two options that lay out there as far as a flat earth is concerned, and that is either there's a single pole where everything's rotating around Polaris and Antarctica is all the way around us, or there's two poles, meaning that the stars rotate around Polaris and Sigma Octans, which means that we're on the stereographic map and that we're correct. So if she acknowledges that there are two poles, she can't deny what we're sharing, and the map that we're sharing demands that we're in a simulation. So just think about it, everybody. If there are clouds behind the sun, these clouds are anywhere from 1,500 feet up to 10,000, 15,000 feet for big thunderstorm heads, but a lot of times it's just between like 2,000 and 4,000 feet. That's it. People that have flown in planes understand this. They take off in the airport and they go through the clouds, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're up and over the clouds, and you go up to your 36,000 feet and you're way over the clouds, super over them. Like they look way down there. And so for the sun to have clouds behind it in a person's circle of sight, it demands that the sun is within the distance that you can see to the horizon, be that 10 miles, 15 miles, if you have, super good conditions, 20 miles in extreme conditions. A lot of times people circle a site or, a mile to 3 miles, maybe less. So within your circle of sight, to see clouds behind your sun demands that the sun is within that distance to you, right? So there's absolutely no possibility of this being the heliocentric model or the Freemason New World Order AE Mappa model. It demands being in a simulation. So the acknowledgement of clouds behind the sun by Kat is the debunk of her disavowalment to this world being a simulation, right? She would have to deny clouds behind the sun to do that.
I bought a P900 and filmed it myself. That is just an optical illusion, just like the vanishing point is.
Just an optical illusion is her explanation. And then she takes it to the reflection that we see at the distance to the horizon. We showed this in a mall floor if you put the camera on the ground. Right, the mall angel. This is so explained and demonstratable. It's not an illusion. It's how perspective works. the closer you put your camera down to the ground, the tighter the circle of sight is. So just in this shot, you can see that there's at the horizon line, the convergence point where everything is focused to, there's this gap here and a gap above where there is a distortion that's applied. This happened in a mall on a flat floor where you could see the reflection of a person's foot, of a bag that they were carrying. You would see the reflection in carpeting. So that right there, the fact that this happens within the length of a mall, not over miles, but within the length of a mall, is proof of simulation once again.
Is when watching ships go over the horizon. They don't, of course. We're on a plane, and it's just an illusion that they go over. Jason also thought he was the Son of Man incarnate. It's true. He actually said it in one of his podcasts on air. So that should tell you where their minds are at.
Where our minds are at. So that's one of the things that Ronnie and I have talked about numerous times, where our minds are at. And that is that since we've had the 4 fundamental truths that are in the description box of our videos, since we've had those 4 fundamental truths, we've talked about the possibility of us being the 2 witnesses, right? Because who else is going to be fighting for 4 fundamental truths like the ones that we're fighting for? You know, one that anybody that's learned that they're not on the spinning heliocentric, everything came from nothing, Big Bang, right? That excludes a whole bunch of people. And then to find out that the next biggest group is the Freemasons promoting a single pole model. All right, so that cuts it down to a super elite group. And then we take it all the way to the point of not just that atomism is fake and that we're in a simulation, but we talk about the true names of the Creator and the Christ. All right, how they're not Jehovah and Jesus. So these types of truths have super alienated us from everybody in the world, yet we're willing to debate them with anyone in the world, and nobody's willing to take us up on that debate. So that leaves us in the position of, all right, either floating beings are coming down from space and they're just going to float around and do some stuff, or maybe we are the incarnate of the spirits that are going to be the 2 witnesses, and we're just not in the Great Tribulation yet. So it's speculation. We have no confirmation of it yet. We put in our resumes for this, but we have no proof that we are. We don't say that we are. We speculate that, all right, well, who's going to come along and stand on higher truths? Who's going to have the time stamp that says, all right, not only was I a flat earther, not only was I anti-AE, not only was I anti-atomism, not only was I for the true names of the Creator and the Christ, but I did it before you, right? All right, so when that person comes along, we'll be like, all right, this is the person we need to be following, because we're going to be asking them a whole bunch of questions and we're going to jump way ahead. So yes, we have owned different positions, and we still do, because nobody's taken the challenge yet to show us that we're wrong on any of these things. So that's what Rosette had to say about Team Yahawashi, and we thank Benjamin for sharing it. It leads into another infiltrator who was Qnfee. And where is here? So this one, we're going to speed up a little bit because we don't want to spend too much time on it. Let's see if we can handle it at 1.5. And Ronnie, please jump in and speak about anything that Qnfee has to say here, because I mean, you did have the relationship with him first. but then we did know him together, and he has attacked us multiple times. And well, here's another one. See what people think of this. I just want to point out I've got a tab up for this. This is Qnfee and Bob Nodell's heart-shaped map. So Qnfee has it. All right, let me. So this is Qnfee and Bob's. This is the Freemason New World Order AE map, a model where everything's rotating around a single pole. He's going to smash that. This was Flat Earth Conspiracy. They did the diamond map, and then they called a sun going from one side to the other Pac-Man. That last one I don't think anybody used. Oh, that was ours. Got a smash at the very end. You absolutely could navigate by it.
I love ping pong. I love ping pong.
All right, watch this. This is how Qnfee is depicting the sun on our map. He has
I love ping pong. I love ping pong.
You see how he has the sun coming out of buttholes on each side and bouncing back and forth like a ping pong ball. So that is not how we say that this map model works whatsoever. We say that the sun goes from the east across the map to the west and then begins again at the east based on the latitude, based on the day of the year. So north of the equator and south of the equator between the tropics. And we've mapped this out using this software right here that shows how it happens within a person's circle of sight. So that's north of the equator, south of the equator, within a person's circle of sight.
Oh, damn. No ping pong today. Piece of shit. Next time show me real ping pong, idiot. Ping pong or not, I still need to shit. Bye-bye, piece of shit. Bye.
Hi people, I'm back with those two idiots. Today they want to measure distances on maps with rulers, which is very amateuristic. We measure distances by using the coordinate system, and now they try to debunk a map with a ruler, but they forget to apply this ruler science on their own map.
Now I'd like to go to the map that Jason from Awake Souls and I have been using. It has been coined the oblique Mercator projection, or the World Satellite Image Map.
It's the most accurate stereographic map of Earth.
This stunningly detailed satellite image of the world, detailed land cover data, depicted in an oblique Mercator projection. The parameters of this map projection have been carefully chosen so that the inevitable distortion that occurs is regulated to the oceans and to the least populated and least recognizable land masses. The result is a unique, visually interesting flat map.
Yeah, what do you expect about maps being flat? Did you ever see a spherical flat map?
Of the world that exhibits.
It's the most accurate stereographic map of Earth.
You guys make me puke. And therefore, I'm going to totally destroy your tiny map. Pieces of shit.
Nearly no distortion.
Let's.
I don't know. YouTube's acting up. I tried stopping it. It jumped.
Yeah.
So his debunk of our map was that it was tiny. I'm going to debunk your tiny map, right?
See about that, idiot.
Even at the poles. This version of the map has been done in a stylish. All we've done is we've correctly orientated the north, south, east, and west.
Hang on. This is great.
Yeah, it really is. Like, watch the graphic
South,
here.
east, and west.
So this is what we did, is we took the Hotine and we twisted it so that the prime meridian went down 180 degrees in the middle of the map. And so you can see how it goes through Greenwich, England, and how the South Pole is split on the two sides and how the North Pole is in the center up here, yet it still goes around this. So when you take this map image and you wrap it to a sphere in a 3D modeling program, it looks just like Earth. And the tropics and the equator, which are these curved lines here, end up becoming straight lines like on a cue ball.
Hang on.
But this right here shows what the Freemason New World Order AE mappa model requires. You cannot get away from this. No, it doesn't work.
For me it works. When we remove that circling sun and scale your tiny compasses down and place a compass on each latitude and longitude and use the data as local data like it's meant to be, then everything seems to work.
It's not a map. No. So this is where it starts getting weird, and I want to point it out that Qnfee is now defending the Freemason New World Order AE mappa model, which he has debunked.
It's so crazy. Hang on.
So this is literally how he became associated with Team Yahawashi. Never a member because he's anti-Christian, but he was associated with us because he was a part of the group of people that were debunking the Freemason New World Order AE mappa model. So he had so many videos showing just how impossible and ridiculous a circling sun is. And yet now, watch, he's literally going to defend it and cry like a baby because we're out here debunking it. So Ronnie, you know the history with him and this map, just like you were saying that he helped with that star map. Isn't this Gleason's is his baby, right?
Yeah, I had explained that he took the map and he made it high resolution in Photoshop. He took it in there and painted it, right? Made all the colors pop, and he tagged it. He put QNFEE on the map. He tagged it. And he gets satisfaction out when he sees other people using it. So for me, I just don't understand why he did such an about face. He explained how the stars work, how the circular of the sky actually is parallel or perpendicular to the Earth's plane, right? It's at a 90 plumb, whereas the stars in the AE mapping model would actually be flat above your head like a pizza plate, a pizza, circling. He showed that the pizza would have to be vertical. That's the way we actually perceive the sky. He was one of the first people. And he also explained that we would have to see, if we were living on an AE mapping model and we were looking at the firmament, and we were looking at the stars in the north, we would actually have to see through Russia, through the sun, to actually get to the stars on the other side of the dome. That's what Qnfee actually debunked. And he debunked the sun speeds. He mapped it all out and debunked the fact that the sun would have to speed up and slow down depending on its inner or outer circle. He did all the work himself.
Yeah, so I just want to show people this. This was from Qnfee's ''S channel, not his main channel, but debunking flat Earth maps with hashtag TEAMYAHAWASHI 1.51 thousand subscribers. He said, on some maps, the sun can rise north and set south. Laugh out loud. Hashtag TEAMYAHAWASHI, hashtag team bullshit. Wake Souls and Limitless Channel are full of shit. And anybody in the north north of the equator or south of the equator can watch the sun rise from south of east and south of west. Both can do it. It's just an absurdity that he's out here fighting for the Freemason New World Order AE mappa model. So let's see what else he's got. Map, right? We showed by the scales, right? This scale right here, 6.5 inches long from New York to LA, over 11.5 inches long from Sydney to Perth. So notice I said 6.5 inches and then 11.5 inches. he's going to catch me saying I called it 11 feet later. All right, but I said 6.5, 11.5 inches. We'll see what this is going to be his straw man.
His big debunk. You're a shill.
Yeah. Earth. That means that this distance would have to be over 4,000 miles. This 6.5 inches that measured out on this line is the 2400 number.
New York, Los Angeles. We compute via the coordinate system. The distance is 2,443 statute miles, or 3,932 kilometers.
Right, so now let's do another measurement. Everybody remember that. Remember that 6.5 inches, 2,470, was it 2 or 5 miles? Something like that. Now let's look at Australia. So now what I've done is drawn the line between Perth and Sydney. Let's measure this line.
The coordinates for Perth and Sydney. According to the coordinate system, 3,300 kilometers, or 2,050 statute miles.
This line is 11 feet 7 and 5. So I say 11 feet 7, but it's not. It's 11 inches. And I said it earlier and I say it again later. But at this point right here, I confuse inches with feet. Right? But the calculation is done for the 11 feet, or 11 inches, not the 11 feet. And so that's all done. It's actually visible in the video. So he's just going to take the fact that I confused feet and inches with my words, not what I was actually doing, and strawman it, because my conclusion that I had shown for the distance between Perth and Sydney matches his. And I was showing this as how impossible it is. It's like double the distance. 16 inches.
You mean 11 inches instead of 11 feet?
Yeah, right. That is what I meant. Exactly.
Burn.
Yeah, that's literally what I meant. And the calculation was based off of 11 inches, not 11 feet. Significantly larger than the other line we measured. All right, now let's take a look at the distance between Sydney and Perth. The distance between Sydney and Perth. Flight distance from Sydney to Perth is 2,041 miles.
Yeah, right. That's correct.
This is 400 miles shorter, right? We had 2475 from New York to LA, 2475. Now Sydney to Perth, we've got 2,041. It's over 400 miles shorter, right? But we'll go to SketchUp, and we were at 6.5 inches, and now we're at 11 foot 7 and 5/6. 11 inches, right? It's not 11 feet, but the calculation shows here it's 11 inches, and that's what the numbers I was coming up with was based off of, not 11 feet. If it was 11 feet, then this number wouldn't be 4,000. It'd be more like 60, 70,000 miles. Right, so it's obvious that I was using the correct calculation, just not saying inches instead of feet. 16ths.
So you're telling us the line from LA to New York is about 6 inches? And this line from east to west Australia is 11.7 feet. That's
No, it's 11 inches. And I did say it before, and I'll say it again.
140 inches, if I'm correct. You sound a little bit drunk, idiot.
What kind of an ad hominem attack is that? You sound drunk? Listen to him, the guy that can barely... Okay, he doesn't speak English. I'll give him that. He's he's from Holland, right? Isn't he?
Yeah.
right? So of course he doesn't speak English as his first language, but I think before you can throw stones, make sure you don't live in a glass house. You know, I don't even know what that is supposed to even mean. You sound drunk? Like, is that supposed to be that you're trying to say that Jason's a drunk? Is that his attack on you? We're supposedly talking about maps and models, but he doesn't have absolutely anything on us. So he has to come up with stupid straw man, right? What's he going to say next? Ronnie, your hair is too curly. You're a shill. Are you absolutely joking?
Well, he didn't show that the calculation was wrong. Right? He didn't show that. He just said I said 11 feet, even though I said 11 inches earlier, and I do say it later. I just, for some odd reason, said feet a couple of times. We're going to call this 11 and a half inches. Oh!
So we went from 11.7 feet to 11 and a half inches.
Yes. Yeah, he corrected himself.
That's what it was.
He corrected himself.
To 11 point, we rounded it down to 11.5. But scaled wise, if the line that we were using before is 2475, this line right here is 4378. Right, so that becomes ridiculous. So one of the things that you see with the Freemason New World Order AE map model is that the scales are absolutely blown out.
What are you talking about? Each latitude and longitude degree are spot on. I wonder why not apply other.
Yes, we never said that its latitude and longitude is not spot on. We just said that it's extremely distorted south of the equator and extremely distorted north of the equator on the Freemason New World Order AE map and model. The latitudes and longitudes work out. That's the reason why Australia is so distorted out here. And the reason why Canada is so distorted. It's the reason why they're distorted.
Ruler science on your own map. Let me do that for you and see if the scales are correct. 2600 kilometers from this point to this point.
It's funny. Pause it. So it's funny, the spot where he's actually taken the clip from is where the actual end of our map would be. So what he's showing you right here is how the supposed teleporting takes place. There's no teleporting. You literally just fly from the bottom of Alaska, right? What is that? Japan or China? Japan. On his map. Literally, he's got it perfectly set up, showing exactly how that flight takes place. From this point where Jason's showing on the right to the point on the left, he's jumping the map. He literally shows people this is all you need to do, because the map that he's using to project his video actually loops. Just the way that we're saying the map and reality works. He's literally showing everybody. And yeah, effed up world battery 79 is an absolute shill. We have videos on our channels. I don't know if you've seen them calling him out. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, so this going across the international timeline here demands a jump from one side of a map to another, because we're looking at a flat map right now. We're not looking at a globe. What is he doing? Is he saying that we're on a globe right now, or is he saying that we have to go from one side of the map to the other? He's saying we have to go from one side of the map to the other, unless if he's also a heliocentrist now.
He might be.
All right. So if you're going from these islands here over to what is this? Irkutsk. This is the Russian peninsula. I think that's what they call it. If you look at the map here, how would you make a trip like that? So I'm going to use the annotate here. Line. So the way you would do something like that is if you're going from these islands, you would go like this, and you would come like this. Now, if we drew those lines on this picture and then wrap this to a sphere in a 3D modeling program like Blender, what you would see is, I gotta turn off the annotate. Oh, I don't like that. How do I go to another tab? Oh, how do I get off annotate? Oh, here we go. So if you were to take the image that we were just looking at, the stereographic map, and wrap it to a globe, these two lines up here would actually wrap around and become this line right here. I want to show you a little bit of an old hangout. Where is it? So this is one of the hangouts that we put back up recently when we were going against the AE map modelers. And we showed it a little bit in this hangout that was from April 19th, 2019.
Scroll a bit down again. I didn't have it centered. You've changed the dimensions. A little bit more. It's the rectangles covering it. A little bit more. Scroll, yeah. Flat Earth. What does it say? Society. Robbie Davidson. I can't read it.
Is a Bitcoin scammer.
Okay, yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know about Robbie and his Bitcoin. He went countrywide tour in Canada scamming people for Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, so now I'll bring this a little bit bigger. And this is... what was his
Full
name?
screen. What are you doing?
What?
Yeah, we don't need the transcript.
No, we don't have it.
Or next square. Yeah, it's on the screen. I'm looking at the transcript.
Yeah, but
truth is what matters.
That's in the hangout that I'm going to share right here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm corrected.
So this was the other, what was IPS's Tim Osmond. So this is son of Bob.
We're pulling this up. This is
old
school.
This is the hangout that I just recently saw that had us do some of this 3D modeling. And so
okay. Yeah,
this is where it's going.
It's not drama. Like, you know, it's not even funny. Why would someone say they're an employee of EIODCS? This is who he's employed by with the CIA. It's just such a joke, man. And your map is nowhere near accurate. You can't test us with this information.
So this is Ronnie pulling up Blender with the stereographic map here. And you can see that the mesh that he's using right here isn't perfectly aligned to the 3 polar points. This is just like a default setting, and we don't really have the technical skills to move this around exactly.
We're carpenters, right? We just try our best with the technology that we can because we love the truth and we want to make it exciting in graphics, and we want. But yes, we're just carpenters.
So I had an old version of Photoshop. And I used it to put the yellow lines highlighting where the tropics would be, and I put a red line
Capricorn
on the
and
equator.
Cancer.
And this is just a image that what we did is we rotated it so that the prime meridian that goes through England is at 180 degrees south. That's all we did with it. That split the 2 polar points of Antarctica. And when you project this image here, this flat image, to a sphere, man, look at what happens. Even with my, crappy Photoshop skills, you can see where these edges where the line comes around aren't perfectly lined up, and so they don't meet up perfectly. But what this has done is it snapped Earth to a 23.5 degree tilt on a globe. And you can see that what used to be these curved lines right here have now become the straight lines.
Equal lines of latitude and longitude.
Watch this.
Man, we've done the research. It's not my fault. I'm not an egotistical person. I could care less who did the research and who found the two maps. If it's a 2-dimensional sphere, it's going to work. If it's a ball, it'll work. But we know that there's no curvature. Water lays flat. So we found the map that you would have to use to make a ball. And we have people that came on our channel like Flat Earth Math, Charles. He said it works. Okay. We're also showing you, again, I'll switch it one more time just so people see. I'll put Timmy's map back up on the screen. Okay, look at how big Antarctica is. None of it lines up. The daylight side is 3/4, if not more, of the Earth, right? It's just an absolute joke.
Look where the North Pole is. It's in friggin' Africa. Okay? This is a joke. Like, and he goes around, look what I did. I've debunked you guys. You haven't debunked nothing. You've made...
All right, so that's just an example of how the stereographic map looks in 3D modeling. And now let's go back to what Qnfee was saying here.
From this point to this point. Yeah, about 2600 kilometers. The widest points on Australia is about 3800 kilometers. Let's round it off to 4000 kilometers. So, now we do some measurements on your map with some rulers. Do you see the problem? This is supposed to be 2600 kilometers. And this 4000 kilometers. That's 4 centimeters. And that represents 4000 kilometers. And here is your 2600 kilometers. But on your map, it's like 22,000 kilometers.
And we had it. Does anybody see the logic fallacy that Qnfee is attempting to use right now? We've said clearly that we're in a simulation. And so if you show the whole map, you're not going to fly from here to here. That's what he's measuring. He's measuring from here to here. Let's just go back and show people that that trip right there would be done like this. You would go from here to here, and you would only be measuring what's on the map. So this little bit at the tip right here, and then this.
Hold on a second.
Here.
I've got it. You've changed the perspective. I need to. I'm working on it. Can you do that again now that the full map is in view?
All right. So once again, the way you take this trip, see, these are the lines of latitude on a stereographic map. You can see where 45 degrees runs through the United States. You can see where 30 degrees runs through the United States. You can see where 60 degrees runs and how, you know, that's around Anchorage up in that area. But out at the ends of these Alaskan islands, what you would be doing is between this flare of this latitude and this flare of this latitude, you would be going somewhere down the middle like this. Now, as soon as you get to the edge of the map right here, that's the end of the trip right here. And you begin on this side coming in like this. So the measurement is from this little sliver right here to this distance traveled right here.
So everybody,
that's how you measure.
Everybody that tries to debunk us, that wants to pull up like a McTooney face, if you try to debunk us, you can't misrepresent how the map works. That's called a straw man. Every time you do it, we will destroy you. Come at us with truth. Measure the map and prove the cartographers wrong. Not Jason and I. We bring this map to you with the credentials that the creators of the map say it's the most accurate map ever created. And because they wrote down flat, Qnfee decides in the video he's going to mock me. Oh, they said flat map. All maps are flat. You're not going to have a ball. It's so infantile, his argument against me. He needs to grow the F up, come at us like a man, and actually do the measuring on the map. We never said that nobody could measure the map and try to figure it out. We told people to do it. But when you do it, you have to understand how the lines of latitude and longitude work. When you draw a line on this map, a straight line, and then you project it to a sphere, it becomes a great circle route. Exactly the way that it's charted today. To make certain three-dimensional programs, you actually have to stereographically do this work so that you could try to back engineer a globe. So it was brought up earlier in the chat. Why does your map have to be projected as a globe? Because Jason and I said that the way that they were able to fool the world, Satan, was he was able to, the creator created a map that was almost to a point where you can't prove anything. The only thing you could do is deductively take away things that it's not, like curvature, water sticking to a sphere, centrifugal versus centripetal. These are the types of arguments that we can bring forth. They can't prove that we live on a ball, but what we can say is our map that we found, we didn't create it. The top cartographers and people that make maps created it. We just found it. They said it's the most accurate. And not only is it inaccurate as a flat map, because if you want to say that you live on a flat earth, you need to find a map that will accurately project both ways. So when the ball earthers say, we live on a ball, and you ask them, well, could you please bring to us your projection? What is that you find as the absolute truest perspective of the whole entire picture of the earth? And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The smartest one, Flat Earth Math Charles, who's an actual teacher, he has studied this type of stuff his whole life. He said this map right here is the map that the ball earthers themselves have to bring to the debate.
Well, the thing is any ball earther that did not present a stereographic map of Earth could just be laughed.
Yes, it's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke. Like you literally have to be mentally retarded to not use a stereographic map if you think you live on a ball.
Well, and so just to finish off my point is that John LeBon was somebody who I had debates with off and on, right? We were also friends. I hung out with him quite a bit in the beginning of The Truth. Me and John LeBon go back to 2013. And what he said was, whatever is the most simple, provable thing will stand up as the truth. So if our map works both as a sphere and a flat plane, and we can conclusively show that there is no curvature and that water doesn't conform to a sphere, it actually levels out. We use water to measure, to build things level. We use water levels. That still happens. That by deductive reasoning, and what's the law called? The simplest truth is always, what's the quote?
I forget now. I know what you're going for.
Something. How am I forget? We need Red's rhetoric here to tell us what that law is. But listen, the simplest truth is the fact that our map works as both your sphere and your flat plane, and we actually perceive reality as flat. When you take off in a plane, you fly up into the air, you level the plane off. D. Marble took a level on a flight and had the bubble level the whole flight, and then they landed. Not only that, but you can use your wine glass on the flight. You'll see the wine, it's level in the glass because we can use water to level things. So that was the debate. Whatever it was,
your wine does not go upside down if you go to Australia.
Yeah, nor does gyroscopes process. Gyroscopes are, when you set a gyroscope on the ground, level and plumb, you get it spinning and it knows it's level, and you take off. If you fly the plane upside down, that gyro will process 180 degrees. Right? That is what's going to happen. But not if you actually fly from the United States of America to Australia. That gyro stays level. It stays plumb and level. So these are the reasons why we promote this map, why we say that whether you're a ball earther or a flat earther, this is the map that you need to use. We've conclusively proven it. So anybody that wants to come to a debate, anybody that wants to try to misrepresent the map, we are going to absolutely eat your lunch. We're going to make you look like fools. We're going to drag you out into the public. We're going to tag you. We're going to title it. We're going to meme you. We're going to make sure that Google has your name linked to us with the evidence making you look like a fool, and all of heaven and earth is going to witness it. And you know why? Because it's the truth. So anybody else that wants to step up, you actually have to represent the map the way that it's actually created and designed. Guess what? This map doesn't even need magnetic declination. Here's a huge no-no with the AE map and model. Here, you guys, I'm going to give you another golden debunk. The fact that Polaris is supposedly the center of how everything spins around. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You don't actually use Polaris with your compass to navigate. You actually have to declinate, depending on where you are, again, on those four corners I showed you guys. Wherever you are on those 4 spots on the map, you actually literally have to turn your compass 18 degrees or 13 degrees off of your actual heading of Polaris so that you can actually declinate. Our map actually does away with that.
Yeah, see, declination is proof of stereographic maps.
Yes.
It is proof. So I just
Not
wanna show-
curvature, not curvature. Again, curvature, if the Earth was a ball and you were at the North Pole, your compass would be pointing in the fucking ground. It's retarded for anyone to think that you live on a spinning ball.
Well, and if you were at the South Pole, it'd be pointing in the ground.
The other direction completely. And if you dug a hole through the center of the Earth, at what point would you flip upside down? Okay, does rain fall upside down in Australia? How is it that it can hold the oceans to the Earth, right? Centrifugal? Is that what the force is? Or centripetal? Which one am I wrong on?
Centripetal is the one that they say is real that holds everything in.
Listen, everybody, centripetal is an absolute joke. And Google, I'll give you guys a sneak peek. Google will tell you, the Google search will tell you that centripetal is wrong and centrifugal is real. No, centripetal is real and centrifugal is wrong. So what they try to tell you is if you get those like merry-go-rounds, the things that you could spin, they would be at the drive-in. I used to love going on them, and they spin, and you got to hold the F on, because if you don't, that thing's going to spin, throw you off the ride. If you were to set a ball on the center of that ride and spin that thing as fast as you can, right? What the ball earthers are actually going around, get this, they are suffering from the worst Dunning-Kruger you could ever imagine. They expect the ball to be pulled to the fucking center of that thing. And not
pulled to the center.
And not one experiment, not one, every single child that has ever ridden on one of those things will tell you it throws you away. That is what we perceive. That is what we test. That is what is repeated in reality. These are the things that we bring to the table. Okay, so you ball earthers are absolutely smoking crack. You are the worst Dunning-Kruger effect. They go around saying AE map and models are Dunning-Kruger. Yes. People that believe in the Freemason New World Order flying pizza pancake map model in outer space are suffering from Dunning-Kruger. They think they've woken up. They think they're holding truth, but they're holding absolute dung. They're holding just garbage. They're holding a PSYOP AE map and model that was created by the New World Order. It's the UN logo. Boom. Oh, that means it's real. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Rothschilds are going to put that out there and show you. You guys have no idea how hard it was to find this. Jason and I had to literally create this through taking multiple projections, lining them up, clipping it in Photoshop, and rearranging it so that it would match the 1892 CS Pierce?
1894.
94. I had it 3 times wrong. The 1894 CS Pierce actually had it right. And we found that map first. I found it. I had all the maps because when I did my research, I downloaded everything. I read every cartography book. I looked at every different projection. And when we overlaid this over the CS Pierce, we actually started to find out this is how they were able to back engineer the globe. What we actually discovered through our findings was the way that they were able to create a map that was stereographic, and then they were able to project that to a sphere. And when we realized that, we understood this was how they were able to psyop the world into believing that they lived on a globe. It was through this map, through the way that this map works. And what we did was we took it and just brought absolute light to it. We just brought it out. We had to find Clifford Cox, a guy that showed up. He was the one that gave us the Hotine projection. It wasn't like this. It was all twisted to the side, jacked. You couldn't even recognize it or understand.
The one that Qnfee was using.
Yeah, we had to literally put it back. And the only reason we knew how to put it to the correct orientation was because of the CS Pierce. So everybody knows the backstory. And again, if anybody wants to try to debunk it, you need to represent it correctly. And it was funny because we were in the debate and they were trying to say that our map had 3 poles. Jason was like, no, Sean Hufford, you absolute, you know what he is. It's one pole in the center and 2 half poles. How many poles does that equal, Jason?
1 plus 2 halves equals 2.
And they were trying to misrepresent the map in the debate, saying there was 3 poles. And they were absolutely, that debate with Reds and Sean was one of the biggest jokes I've ever seen. They had nothing prepared. They thought they were going to bring a stupid argument that they used against Jaron. The only thing they had was a rocket engine in front of a cable. And the fact that when you rise a drone up, your perspective, your circle of sight actually largens, thus creating a steeper angle to the horizon, to your vanishing point. Your vanishing point moves further out when you rise in altitude. So you do have a slight declination down towards the horizon because it's enlarging. But in no way does it drop anywhere as a curved sphere with a radius of 3959 demands. When we go up in an airplane, ladies and gentlemen, you should literally see the ball wrapping under you. You should be flying around it. This is an absolute asinine joke. We destroyed these guys, and we brought the map. Jason even interjected that we thought that we might have been two of the witnesses spoken of in the scriptures only because of the truth that the Creator has been putting through us, right? We've never hidden any of these things. We've been out in the open. We've shared it with people. Rosette decided to throw a wrench at Jason because Jason had thought that there was something that was aligning with him and the title of Son of Man. Ladies and gentlemen, the title of Son of Man, I'll let you know, is a name of a reincarnated spirit that is here. That reincarnated spirit is here. It always comes back. And what Jason was just misunderstanding was the actual path that we were on, right? Mm-hmm. And we're slowly starting to see more and more things fulfilled. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know a lot of people hear that video of the debate and the 20-minute video that we created, and Jason threw it out there. And to this day, to this very second, no one has been able to come up and say, no, you're not. And all we've ever said was that Jason and I both put in our resumes. We said, Father in heaven, we will be whatever it is that you need us to be. We will serve you and your truth only. We both agreed to that. Who is going to do it? In the scriptures, what you find a lot of times is prophets, they turn away from the job. For the last 6,000 years, not Yahawashi, obviously, even though before Yahawashi took the passion for us, he actually did cry blood tears and ask to have it taken from him, right? You had Job. Not Job. Yeah, no, Job didn't run. Who was the other prophet that ran? Jonah. Jonah ran, was swallowed by a whale, turned mutilated, and then spit out, and then he was assigned to the people. Moses, no, don't send me. I can't speak. Yeah, all these people. Jason and I said, well, why not? Why not sometime in this story, in the Creator scriptures, two men can stand up and say, no more. No more will you mock and ridicule and oppress the righteous. No more will you mock the truth of the scriptures. No more. We stood up and we said, you know what? We will die fighting for this truth. This map was the map that we were led to. We simply just followed the lines, did the deductive reasoning, and brought forth the evidence. And we'll continue to do this until we're long gone. Whether we get translated out of here, whether all of a sudden superpowers are given. I got to say one thing. If superpowers are given, Google, Facebook, YouTube, all the different social media networks, you better be prepared. We're going to be making visits to you. Anyone that censored anyone, we're going to be making visits to you. Any king, any president, anyone who thinks he's a ruler that's oppressing the righteous right now, we're going to be making a visit to you. All these things. House
calls.
We will be making house calls. We will be coming. There will be iron rods involved. There will be strict rules and guidelines laid down. And if this kicks off, there'll be 3.5 years of absolute pandemonium for the wicked. They will be absolutely run Rookshaw through the hilt and back. We will drag each and every one of you Satanists through the dirt. I will literally grind your face into the mud. Anyone that's offended or afflicted or hurt a child or hurt a woman, anyone in a position of power, things are going to change. And whether it's me or Jason that does it, I'm telling you right now, it will come. The further and further they push the agenda, what they're doing right now, the further they clamp down on people, the more you can't buy or sell because of the wild animal comes into place, the more power is going to be given to those two people that stand up. The more truth, the more brilliance, the more beauty, the more simulation realizations are going to be given, because Enoch told us that the righteous would get more righteous. They would become so righteous that they would become shining lights like the stars in the sky. And the wicked are going to get more wicked, and the wicked are going to get more wicked. And guess what? Just like Moses and Aaron went unto the people of Pharaoh and told them, if you don't change your ways, time is running out for you. And what ended up happening? All of the firstborn children that were in that kingdom were killed in one night. The weeping and the torment that must have been invoked in that place, nobody has ever understood anything like that in this modern day era. There would be millions of people dead. Millions and millions. There are going to be millions and millions of people are dead. The scriptures will be fulfilled. And if anyone who wants to come and stand against us or anything that we say, you better make sure that you do it with truth, because at some point, anyone who comes to speak lies is going to be completely put out in front. All of heaven and earth witnesses every single word we say. You know what some people don't realize about me and my fight? I know around me, I have an army that is so powerful that I could have this entire earth burned to the inner core of whatever you think it is. It will be. It's going to be. The army is absolutely on my arms. Every word, every piece of truth I say is propelled by millions and millions of angels. They stand there with flaming arrows and swords ready to attack every single one of these wicked people. And if they don't think it's true, they've got another thing coming, because I'm telling you guys, this place, the more dark it gets, the more angels are starting to round and gather around us, and they will have their time. Yahweh will say go. And when that happens, if you guys on the other side of the screen right now, if you're questioning whether you think Christianity is real or the truth is real, you got another thing coming, because this game that we're in, the simulation that we break down, has eternal consequences. You are a magnificent, beautiful creature made it in the image of the Creator. He made us like him with the abilities that he has. We're just bound in these avatar suits right now. We're limited, but through what we've been given, we show a limitless path. The kingdom of heaven that's coming is limitless, and all of the wicked are going to be destroyed. So if you guys aren't ready, you better be, because the more wicked it gets, the more righteous is going to show up. I'm telling you guys, I've been witnessing it every single day. All I know is as soon as the power is given, everything is going to change. And each one of you guys on the other side of the screen, you have faith, you have trust in the Creator. He is going to protect you. The righteous people are going to be blessed. They're going to be moored. They're going to be lifted up. It's going to be amazing, you guys. Flowers and beautiful things and things that you guys have never... The parabolic understandings are going to be just poured forth. There'll be poetry and flowers and love. There's going to be a huge wedding and a celebration. All the wicked are going to be just destroyed. They're going to be just wiped clean. And I'm sorry for that long rant, but it had to be said.
Yeah, it's fine. So what I want to show here is to Qnfee how to actually use the map, to Kat how to actually use the map, and I'm going to use her location. This is literally the first, when we presented this map, this is literally the first one we talked about, was the flight from Hawaii to Japan. So I'm going to demonstrate now that if you're in Hawaii and you're going to fly to Japan, first let's say you're going to Tokyo, and I think I know where Tokyo is. I think it's in this Bay Area right here. So this is, it's a bit north of the tropic, the yellow line right here, right? And so from this distance, following this curved line, this is obviously longer here than the distance from Hawaii to the international date line. So what that tells me is if this was an equal distance, we'd be crossing the tropic, early. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go from Hawaii. We're going to come in just a little bit south of the tropic here. Then we're going to come in a little bit south from the tropic. Oh, I went a little high. Let's clear that. So we're going from Hawaii, a little bit south of the tropic, coming in a little bit south of the tropic, and we're going over to Hawaii. So this is the line that we would measure from Hawaii over here, this line and this line. Now, if you're using straight lines, that would be much better. I was on draw. Let's clear the drawing. Now we got straight lines. So we're going from Hawaii just a little bit south like this. Then we're coming across like this. So you'd be crossing the tropics somewhere out here. This is called dead reckoning. Now, the crazy thing about this is these curved lines, the yellow, the red, and the yellow, when you project this to a sphere, become like croquet ball lines. They become straight lines on a globe. And the green line that I just drew right here, when put up there, will become a great circle route. And that's literally what Qnfee showed us in the beginning, was a great circle route that required going from one side of a map to the other. It was a flat map. It wasn't a sphere either. So it's crazy what we have to deal with, but he's a shill, right? He absolutely refuses to acknowledge that we're in a simulation, and apparently Kat too, even though she understands that there are clouds behind the sun.
So does Qnfee.
Yeah. So
they both filmed them.
So let me show them one more time here.
The other thing I wanted to point out about this spot here is if you look carefully at the difference between the way Jason's... Did you want to explain this?
I just want to show quickly that we absolutely never, ever, ever have suggested that the flight from Hawaii goes to Japan like this. Not once.
Never. Actually, I showed the evidence that NASA and the governments, they won't actually let you fly over the North Pole. That's an impossible flight. Nobody has ever done it because they say that the Earth's magnetic fields, the radiation would kill you. They say really what it is that there's flaming sword angels that stand there, and we've seen this as the Northern Lights that emanates from the north. That flight doesn't even exist in reality over the poles like that.
Yeah, what we do know for sure is that when somebody takes off in Hawaii and wants to go to Japan, is that they fly to the west like this, that they cross the international date line, they change their clocks ahead one day, and then they come in like this. All right, that is what we know. And so this is the line that we measure, and that is the distance that corresponds and relates to other distances on this map, not the one across that goes over the North Pole from side to side. So we are being so misrepresented by Qnfee, it's ridiculous. Like, and we've
not only that, but he's got the map. So the way that we're showing you the map is the correct orientation. If you turn, twist, or angle this map, you then therefore distort the view of it. Look how Qnfee's representing the map here. He couldn't have made it more retarded. He's clearly hiding the fact that the map works. He's trying to make it look as retarded as possible by angling it, twisting it, cutting off a whole bunch of the map, and then putting his rulers angled incorrectly over the map. Everything.
We have a map that we're sharing, the one that we're sharing tonight, and he's gone ahead and used this and distorted it and misrepresented it, that you would fly from here this direction, which is an absurdity. And it's the most accurate stereographic map. So this is one of our most early representations of it. And this is a macro view, not to be confused with what we see in our own circle of sight, but what can be measured as far as the travel of the sun to its meridian crossing or its solar noon, where it's 180 degrees south if you're in the north of the equator, or 0 degrees north if you're south of the equator. So that's your solar noon. And so solar noon can be measured as like 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, and then it's slower at the tropics, and it only travels between the tropics.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to explain is this perspective is orthographic. This is not something that we can see in reality. We're an observer looking down upon the macro view of the realm, right? This is just a macro, okay? This is the waters surrounding the map, the four corners, the way that the earth is aligned, how the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This is a macro. This is one day. The whole map from the sun from one side to the other, this is how we track it over one day. This is just a representation of a macro view. That's it. We never claimed that this was our absolute reality. We tell people you have a 3-mile circle of sight, and in that tiny 3 miles, everything happens around you.
Yes.
There it is.
This is the view that everybody gets. We'll go to like New York. Everybody sort of has
on the left, upper left, you have the macro, which was the whole map. On the bottom left, you have the gradient of the sun's path, where you are on the map. And on the right side, you have your local circle of sight. The vanishing point is the edge of the circle. That's as far as you can see in our projection. That's how this works.
All right. So in your circle of sight, at the winter solstice in New York City, this red line right here is your path around the observer, right? Rising very, very south of east, very south of east. This is a debunk of the Freemason New World Order, right? Setting very south of west. This is a debunk of the New World Order AE map and model. But this all happens with a person's circle of sight. If you're a person down at the ground here, right, you're down here, you're the observer, these buildings aren't in your way, what's going to happen is the sun is going to rise out here at your horizon from the ground and set to the ground within your circle of sight. And that is proof of simulation. Now, if you're looking at clouds behind the sun, that means that you have clouds out here at the horizon, that the sun is originally rising out of the ground in your circle of sight, going through those clouds, and then making this arc around you, coming down through the clouds and setting at the horizon on your west hand side. That all happens around the observer. Shadows prove it. We can defend this left, right, center with anybody, anywhere in the world. All we need is a webcam, and we'll just show them what the shadows are doing, because they mimic these models perfectly, which are designed on flat planes. This whole thing is a flat plane. So it's ridiculous, the position that he's trying to play. He's trying to defend the AE map model coming against us, denying simulation, when he's already proven so many of the proofs for simulation himself.
Of Earth, shills who go around spreading misinformation. And it's the most accurate stereographic map of Earth. This is the game. This is how they play it. Jason and I don't play. No, we literally are the guys that debunk the top heliocentric shills in the world. And we also debunk the Freemason New World Order AE map model. So we are on a flat, motionless plane that is not circular, right? And the scriptures are correct. It's got 4 corners. It's a stereographic map. And it's pretty neat. Once we put our heart to finding it, it took us like a month, and we had it. And it's the most accurate stereographic map of Earth. And you could navigate by it.
I bought this plane, the King Air B200, and it has a top speed of 279 knots. That's about 516 kilometers an hour. So 2600 kilometers will take me about 5 hours of flight.
Again, everything's based off of his misrepresentation of the way that the map works. He's doing it absolute backwards. It's the absolute funniest straw man I've ever seen. Qnfee should be ashamed of himself. Look how easy it is to debunk. You don't even have our map completely on the screen. You have it twisted and angled so that it looks absolutely ridiculous. Like, what did he do? Cut the outsides of the map off too? I don't even know. He's just absolutely mangled it so that he could try to bolster his retarded narrative. What a joke, Qnfee. I thought you were better than this.
Yeah, and he has to draw the line the wrong direction that you would not fly. And you would know that you were going the wrong way.
People can look out the window and, oh, we're over land now. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's Eastern Russia? No, I don't think so. There we go over the ocean.
Yeah.
Tiny map.
Tiny map.
This flight of 22,000 kilometers would take you around 30 hours instead of 5 hours.
Because not the fight no one would take.
You cannot navigate on your map.
You absolutely could navigate by it. So it's flat and it's not circular.
So once again, the navigation for that flat would come from the islands right here at the edge of the map, going this direction, and you would come in at that same latitude here, right here. So we can measure it out, and yes, that distance right there is going to match the 2,600 kilometers, or his 5.5 hour flight in the plane that he just bought. Oops.
You absolutely could navigate by it.
We can say each centimeter on this ruler represents 1,000 kilometers. So this was 22,000 kilometers.
It's not a map, right? We showed.
Where did he get that scale from?
And from Chile, let's say Santiago, to East Australia.
Again, he's representing the map like it's an AE projection. That's how wrong he is.
Yeah.
That's not the way the map works.
It's an absurdity. Like, you don't travel that way. You go
never.
you go across any flight that goes across the international date line means that you're going from one side to the other. One side to the other. So if you're staying inside like that, but the flight goes across the international date line, you're just a shill trying to like shill against us, and you're a retarded one.
It's about 29,500 kilometers. That's more than double.
You absolutely could navigate by it.
6,700 kilometers. 6,700 kilometers. 19,000 kilometers.
Does that even look like our map right there?
I don't know what he's done to it.
Does that even look like our map right there? Let me pull up our map. Look at the orientation of South America to Africa right here. You've got Brazil pointing like this, and then you've got the tip of South America like super set away from South Africa. Let's bring up the map that we've been sharing. So this measurement from here to here, right? He's got it distorted. Let's go back to his video, take a look. I don't know what map he's using. It's not our map that we use.
Maybe that's why he's got it crop zoomed in, right? And the corners cut off. He's used a different projection, and he's just trying, because it's got the same colors. That might be what he's done here. I don't know. Everything that he's doing is ridiculous.
Oh, that's what he's done. Let me show you. Watch this. So he's using a video clip where the map is tilted. This isn't flat. Right? This is tilted in 3D space in the video software, which is distorting it. So even in the thumbnail that we use tonight, when I have something rotating, you can see that as it goes flat, it spreads to infinity at the edges. So because the map is tilted right here, it's not this is not the same as this. You see how this one is actually, you're looking straight down on it, and this one's tilted in 3D space. And that's the reason why he's getting it like this.
Hang on. Woo! Which way's south?
There are some crack smokers making this thing.
Which way's south?
Every single one of these
Every single
lines.
what?
Every single one of these.
Every
lines
single point of the map is south.
Yes.
Hang on. Okay, what way is east? So let's do this little game here for everybody. I'd like Jason is going to be our sailboat. Okay, his circle pointer there that everyone can see. Let's start off in Galveston. Put your pointer there. I'd like you to go northwest.
Here, I can pop a line down here. We're going from Galveston. We're going northwest.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, northwest.
How far do you want to go?
What are you trying to point out here? Some northwest direction on a map? You can do that on any map, idiots.
Let's just see how far we can navigate. Okay.
Let's see how far you can navigate. That sounds a little bit stupid. That depends on where you go east or where you go west, or even how much fuel you have in your plane or boat.
Travel across where to Australia?
Yeah, that's northwest from here.
Is that northwest? Hang on.
Australia is northwest from the United States, everybody.
If anyone doesn't understand, try to explain that a little bit closer.
So if you use common knowledge, say you're down here in the Dallas region, I'm going to draw a line. You go from central Texas and you go northwest. northwest will take you to Sydney. Right, do you see that?
I
You see how here's northwest, 315 degrees. You go northwest from Dallas, that'll take you to Sydney, Australia. You see how ridiculous that is? Do you really think that you can fly northwest from
No.
Dallas and get to Australia?
You can't. It's absolutely. This map is so flawed. You can't use it to navigate. Everywhere out is south, and it's skewed to infinity. They took a globe and they stretched the bottom of it out to infinity. That's why Antarctica is now a 63,000 mile ice ring. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense for navigation. The only thing you can do is plot out the time and position of the sun. That's it. And that's the only thing you can do with the map. That's it. And the only reason that works is because they have the equator equally spaced out with the tropics, spaced out from the center of the map, so that you can align a ruler around with where the sun would be at that point. But everything else on the map, including the sun's path, is completely wrong. The sun actually rises in the winter months in the north in November, December, and January. The sun rises in the south off the bottom of the map, comes overhead, and then hooks away left, going off the map to the left. In reality, it does not hook to the right at all.
On this map, everything north of the equator is scaled to infinity as you become closer to the North Pole. So like Canada, Alaska, Russia, all of this stuff is just absolutely scaled into oblivion, whereas anything south of the equator is so overscaled, it's ridiculous. Absolutely. And navigation does not work on this whatsoever. So the simple demonstration of going northwest from Dallas, taking you to Sydney, Australia, is an absurdity. Like everybody would know if you're flying in over Northern California or Oregon to get to Sydney like this. It's just an absurdity. Let's keep going.
Woo! Which way south?
There's some crack smokers making this thing.
Which way south?
Every single one of these
Every single
lines.
what?
Every single one of these.
Every
lines
single point of the map is south.
Yes.
Hang on. Which direction is east? Is it left or right?
East is right.
Right?
Yeah.
Where is east? On your map?
Do you want to answer, Ronnie, where east is?
Yeah, he's got where he's got the compass right now. He's got it on the eastern side of the macro view, and the circle of sight he's got is like half of the size of Australia. It also has an east and west, north and south on it as well. And then when you align that north and south along the lines of longitude on the map, you actually have declination. Right? So if you take your compass and you follow north, you will literally follow that curved line going up the map.
Boom. So you can see that his compass, he does not have a line. So let's show people on the Freemason New World Order AE map and model, you would have north always lined up to the North Pole, right? North would always be turning.
Which is not where your compass even points.
All right. So for one, knowing that north has to be lined up with the North Pole, this is basic beginner 101 type stuff. And he's misrepresenting once again. So
yes,
on the stereographic map, if we go anywhere,
the only spot it would be perfectly plumb 90 degrees to the view that we have is on not the time and date line, the prime meridian, the green line down the center. That is the only place where you'd have north and south pointing perfectly up and down. Everywhere else has a slight angle or tilt going on the angles that the lines in latitude and longitude are portrayed on the map. It's very basic. I don't know why McToon,
who profess to be the smartest person in the world, completely misrepresented this exact demonstration that we're showing people how the lines of latitude and longitude work on the stereographic map. And Qnfee completely missed the boat and thought he had something that he didn't. He thought he had a piece of gold, and he's really holding a piece of dung in his hands.
So this right here is a line of longitude that's close to Sydney, Australia. And so north is this path right here. If you were to just go north, just look at the longitude from Sydney. You're going to come up like this. You're going to go through like the Philippines and all that kind of stuff. You're going to come out east of Japan, right? And you'll come up through Russia, this area, and you'll come into the North Pole. If you were to go north from New Orleans, you go like this. You go up through Wisconsin, and you would follow this path. If you were coming from Southern California, this would be north for you. You're coming from Anchorage, I think it's out here, this would be north for you. If you were going south from New Orleans, this would be south for you, right? So all these are the magnetic lines. So Ronnie brought up declination earlier. Declination is the explanation for us being on a stereographic map, because Polaris doesn't necessarily line up with your magnetic north based on your location on the map. So they give you a declination map. I gotta clear that.
Ah, that's also pointing to the right.
Southeast. Just wait, which direction is east? Is it left or right?
East is right.
Right?
Yeah.
And west is left? Which way are we looking though? Are we looking north or south?
Yeah, we gotta always look north. So
always look north? Okay.
You have to be looking north.
You have to be looking north.
Those two idiots are mentally retarded.
What kind of north do you want?
Okay.
So this line comes out to the North Pole through Greenwich, and it comes out here to noon, right? I don't know if you can, I know it's a little blurry, but it says here noon at the 3 o'clock position. This is the, so this is 90 degrees. This one's 180 degrees. We come down here and it says evening.
Evening.
This is where evening takes place down here. And you come out here, and this is midnight.
Midnight.
All right, 9 o'clock here is midnight. And straight up here at the 0 and 360, that's where the morning takes place.
Morning.
All right. So
okay.
Woo, baby, right?
I think that takes place on every single spot on the map. Hang on.
Woo. Longitude and time calculator. Longitude and time calculator.
That's all it is. So here you hear like Qnfee is starting to get a little upset because we mocked the crap out of his model. He's an AE map modeler. He's here trying to defend it. Let's see what he's got.
Noon here on the prime meridian. An hour later.
Oh, now he's rotating it.
It's noon here. And an hour later, it's noon here. And so on and so on.
Notice that the Gleasons, which it looks like he had an instrumental part in creating, doesn't do that.
This is a different projection.
Idiots. Its longitude line represents time. Noon. When the sun is at its zenith.
Then the map could not have put noon anywhere on it. Right? Couldn't, because supposedly the sun rotates around, so everywhere would be noon somewhere.
Or when we use this map as time calculator, then we use the word noon as 12 o'clock. And when it's noon, automatically 180 degrees to the opposite, it's midnight. This is how time works.
Okay.
Baby, right?
I think that takes place on every single spot on the map.
All right, so let's show him how it actually works on our map. And that is because there are 24 longitudes here, right? If you're at any one of these longitudes, all you have to do is count 12. And if it's noon somewhere, it's going to be midnight on that longitude. So
One more time.
So let's just say, annotate again. We go from let's go from New Orleans, because it's on a longitude right here. We're starting in New Orleans and we're going 12 time zones. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6. Then we go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Over here, it's 12 hours separated. So if it's noon in New Orleans, it's midnight over here. That's how this map works. It's very self-evident. He's just trying to shill it out.
I see your map also have 24 meridian lines, which represents time, of course. So what's funny about it? Noon here on the prime meridian, 12 o'clock. 12 hours later, we have noon 180 degrees opposite of the prime meridian.
Yeah, we understand that. But apparently you still tried to shill us out, and you made it do a perfect circle where it would actually have to follow these lines of latitude.
Again, misrepresenting the projection. And another
misrepresenting.
And can you go back to a slide where it has the AE projection on there? Seth asked a really good question, why the ice wall wasn't perfectly round. And I just wanted to explain that really quick, and then you can get back to this.
Like this?
It's too large screened. Yeah, how the ice wall is, see how it's warped and stretched? That's because they've actually taken a stereographic map, put it to a sphere, and then they've then stretched the bottom of the sphere outwards like a pizza. They spun it outwards, and where Antarctica, which is a large continent, right, on the bottom left and right square of the map, how I explained to you guys, the four-cornered square, on the bottom two sides, you have Antarctica. And the people have raced around it. There's races around Antarctica, and they've sailed it, and it's been documented. On this map, they skew it to infinity. They stretch it out so far, and when you warp it and stretch it like that, the only way they could actually project it to this projection was to distort it like that. That's an artifact of the distortion.
Because they deleted a polar point.
That's right. They stretched it out and deleted one. And the reason why we use the map that we use is because the cartographers that created it said they did away with distortions. It was the least distorted map ever created. That's why we use it, because it does away with distortions. This map here is completely effing distorted right from the start. It's a joke. It's a joke. The only thing it works for, like I said, is it equals out the tropics, right? Which is a 24-hour clock that they've created over top of the stereographic map. They've just orientated it differently, where they've splayed the lines of Capricorn and Cancer and the equator, and they've then spun a line with you could use a string line and a pivot point in the center. Jason and I do these types of builds all the time when we cut circles and when we lay out walls that are round. This is how we do it. It's a simple way to project it. It's a squished globe, a stereographic map, our map projected to a sphere, and then the bottom of the sphere is then ripped open and stretched outwards. so that you're splaying the circular path like this. They've distorted all the lands. It literally tells you that it's distorted. When you measure it, you can find that out. That's the only way that they were able to show you just where the time was. Imagine this with the sun circling around the outside of the map, way off the map. This is in no way something that you can physically imagine in reality. This is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. I just don't understand how Qnfee is still defending it.
Yeah, especially when he has debunked it multiple times.
By the way, nice wavy lines.
Wavy line.
That's the lines of latitude and longitude. Woo! Like, how do you? That's your only misrepresentation. That's all you can nice wavy lines. Yeah, those wavy lines do away with declination, magnetical declination. They also completely show you, if you follow them with your compass headings, you can perfectly navigate to any spot on the map. Perfectly. Unlike your retarded, skewed out to infinity, Freemason, New World Order, flying pizza pancake trash.
Baby, right? I think that takes place on every single spot on the map.
Yeah, morons. Even on your...
So he's so misrepresenting it. He has the moon coming from the tropic and then just doing a perfect circle around the North Pole. But obviously anybody that has any sort of cognitive ability understands that the moon, or here, I guess he's got the sun at noon, but the sun doesn't travel anywhere north of the tropics. So he would have to represent this accurately by taking the sun and doing this, following the tropic like this over to one side, and then bringing it in like this, following the tropic on this side. This is the only way to use this map. Having him circle the sun from this point and just pivot it around like this is absolute nonsense and a misrepresentation. It's gross.
map.
Hang on.
Ooh. Ooh. I feel sad for the Christian nutcases in their hangout chat. It's so easy to see
man,
they're full of shit.
Qnfee, you're a joke. You're gonna attack the people in our chat. You're a coward, Qnfee. I'd like you to come and try to mock my friends to my face. You're a keyboard warrior. You're an absolute joke. You want to mock people, buddy? You don't even leave your house. You sit inside. You don't even leave your front window to film things. You film through your kitchen window. You hang out with your bird, and you want to come here and mock our viewers? These people actually go out and test things, and they're fighting for truth. What are you doing, Qnfee? Promoting disinformation, misrepresenting our map, and laughing at things that make you look like a fool. You thought you were wise. You're the one who looks like a fool in front of the whole world. Coming here, he's gonna try to mock our followers because they believe in the scriptures. Actually, Qnfee, that's the most important thing that you could ever learn. All this map nonsense is just us looking into truth, trying to investigate our realm that the creator put us in. How were you created, Qnfee? Are you now evolved from a one-cell organism? Do you believe in the Big Bang, that everything came from nothing? You profess to be so wise. You want to make fun of our viewers. Why don't you come on here, show your face, show your name, stop hiding, and actually take accountability for your claims? Because if not, all you look like is a pompous-ass clown who's running around with misinformation. You look and sound like a fool. I will bitch slap you live on stream. I will do it to your face. And anyone else that wants to come here and mock the people that I love, that support us, you have absolutely no basis in reality to come out here and talk nonsense about our followers and people that are on our team. That's who you think you're going to come at? People that are on our team? No, why don't you get your own game straight, actually represent the map correctly, and come correct, and then I'll have some respect for you.
Yeah, we will debate you, Qnfee. We will debate you, Cat. We understand that you're shills and that you're probably not going to take us up on that. But yeah, maybe you can come out of your closet for a second and try to stand behind your words. We're willing to.
I don't really want to bitch slap him. I meant that metaphorically, because if I slapped him, I swear I'd probably rip the skin off his face. So obviously I'm not going to do that because Yahawashi told us not to do that. But I tell you guys, if any power or anything is told for me from Yahweh, I will definitely destroy the wicked, because it's time that the righteous have protection. It's time that a good shepherd stands up to answer to these detractors and these people that misrepresent and lead people off to destruction.
So I think we covered it enough. It's everything that he had was pure misrepresentation. Kat admitted that the clouds are behind the sun, and then she said, oh, it's some sort of distortion. We know that the Freemason New World Order AE map and model is impossible. We know that Earth is not curved, right? And that we're not on a spinning ball. We're not moving. And these people are shilled out for the New World Order AE map and model. And so it was interesting that both of them came against us in the same week. We finally had time to cover it. And I wouldn't mind bitch slapping infiltrators like this every day. It's
metaphorically, like I said,
yeah.
I don't ladies and gentlemen, I don't go around beating people up. I was trained specifically in martial arts, and the sensei who taught me the highest level of martial arts told me, you know, I had to honor his teachings, that I wouldn't go around using this unless I was to defend myself or a loved one or an innocent person that was being harmed. That was the only promise that I ever made. So you'll never see me going around hurting people. I got fired up at Qnfee because metaphorically I do want to bitch slap him, because he's an absolute joke to truth. He's out here misrepresenting, lying, doing infantile, disgusting things, mocking the people in our chat, cowardly hiding behind his nickname Qnfee, doesn't promote who he is, doesn't go on camera. This is the epitome of what a shill is. Someone that comes in, pretends to be on your side, films the clouds behind the sun, shows the simulation reality in the sky, and then flips it, and then all of a sudden comes back with the AE map and model and try. This is exactly how they do it. This is what they do. They try to infiltrate Qnfee, Kat. There was David Mispelkin, who was enslaved by media. He did the exact same thing. He tried to start saying that planes were flying too slow and that north was up and south was down. Meanwhile, he was measuring a topographical area where he was actually looking downwards from a higher elevated place. Everything that these people do is so easy to see through. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, don't believe anything that Jason and I say. Don't believe us. Go out and prove us wrong. We've said that since day one. If you're going to measure the map, I'll take the screen share, Jason. If you're going to measure the map, do it correctly. Follow the correct lines of latitude and longitude. Yes, I'm talking to you, McToon. All your little shills that watch this, run and share this clip with them. McToon, I won't debate you because you're an absolute disgusting, gross human being. But I will tell you, if you represent our map correctly and debunk it, I will stand corrected. Same with you, Qnfee. You show us how it's wrong, actually measure it correctly, I will stand upon better truth if you can debunk it. Because other than that, it still stands as the creators of the map said, it's the most accurate landmass ever created. Land depicted on a flat orientation with four corners, just the way the scripture said it would. Go figure. Everything that the scriptures were written about will come true, has come true, and is the most verifiable proof that we have. So Qnfee wants to mock Christianity. Kat wants to go down her, what is she now? An Aryan? She believes that the white power and everybody should breed in their own white race, and right? She's gone so far. And this is another thing that I quickly wanted to touch upon tonight. I've watched what happens to people who all of a sudden go against Jason and I. Derek Laborde, right? We how many guys? David Mispilkin, Kat. All I've seen from these people is an absolute decline. Now, I love Derek. I do. I wish he was still part of the team. I really do. But I haven't seen him fight for truth. He just fell right off the boat. You had David Valaveva, the guy who created the Strange Truth documentary. Amazing, his level. All of a sudden, he didn't feel the name Yahawashi was important, and he just backed off. Guess what? He doesn't fight for the truth anymore. I've watched what happens to anyone that goes against any of the truth that Jason and I have said. They're absolutely deteriorated, destroyed, and dejected. That's what happens, people. And you know what? It's only because what Jason and I say isn't Jason and I's word. It's the truth. The truth doesn't need us. It will be proclaimed. The rocks, the fucking trees will cry out the truth. It doesn't care about us. We just bring it to you guys. And the truth is the truth is the truth. And it's going to be the truth. It always was the truth. And no matter how much somebody wants to straw man, create a false argument, and then try to pin us into it, we will destroy you like wheat going into the fire. You will be burnt so hot that you won't even know what happened. And guess what? Eternal hellfire. I've been burned. I had 8% of my body, 4th degree and worse burns. I had skin grafts. You don't want to be burning forever. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm tough. That was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And let me tell you guys, I went through that so I could come out here and tell you, if you guys want to fight against the truth, there is a place like that where you will burn forever. We teach Elias passed away. We teach that, excuse me, in a simulation, you can create a loop. You can hit loop on your iPod, and it will play forever as long as it has power. The same thing, hellfire is eternal. There's a loop button hit, and you don't die. You don't die. You actually burn forever. Why do people think I'm out here fighting for them? Why do you think I won't let stop for one person? I will do anything to save one person. If just one person says to me, Ronnie, I'm with you. I don't want hellfire. I've done something in this realm. I can go to sleep tonight happy. I just want everyone to know that if you fight against the truth and you want to mock the names of Yahawashi and Yahweh, you want to mock the truth, the pure and simple things that Jason and I have laid straight, you will see the ramifications in your life, because I've testified to it and witnessed it myself. I've seen what happens to people. Do not be like those people. Please, I beg you guys. Jason, I thought tonight was a great presentation. I liked the way that you pointed out the misrepresentations of Qnfee. I liked the way that you talked about Cat. I don't have anything against either one of these people. This is about the truth. The words that each of you spoke, the actions that you guys took, the lies that you told are what I exposed and held up. Jason as well. What we've shown the world is how you lied. The fact that you tried to say that we had some blowing out. No, you freaked out on me because Liz McGee said you sounded like Lindley Oz. You do sound like her. She just has a quicker pace to her talk, which I actually wanted you to do. Kat, you remember? I was trying to get you to be enthusiastic and passionate because you actually do have skill. Qnfee has a lot of skill too. He can film things, but he doesn't leave his house, right? He'd just rather sit there and mock me and Jason and mock Christians. That's what his heart wants to do. Kat wants to talk about white race and how Hitler wasn't wrong. That's what his heart. Everything that each person speaks that comes out of their mouth, every meme that they share, every character that they type is an expression of who they are in their heart. That's why Yahawashi said, guard every word that comes out of your heart. Guard every thought that comes into your head. And be mindful of each thing you say, because we tell people it doesn't matter if you smoke crack. It doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic. It doesn't matter if you're a pothead. It doesn't matter if you do acid. If things that come out of your mouth are truthful and righteous, you're off to the races. If you do something in your life that then makes you sin, where you then curse somebody, where you hurt somebody, where you do anything that would be in disharmony with the Holy Spirit, you are definitely going to pay for those things. Okay? And people want to think it's a joke. They want to just, this is a big game to them. It's fun to mock Christians or mock Yahawashi or say that Mary, what happens if your daughter came home and said she was impregnated by the Holy Spirit? Like, what would you do? Like, if people want to mock the most beautiful, righteous story that was woven throughout the stars literally proclaim the story of a virgin birth, the Savior, the salvation given to mankind from this evil, wicked place. One man walked righteous for his entire life, and they nailed him to a stake and killed him. And he was risen back to life and has become the doorway to salvation. And now, right, the restoration of the people has come. His words, his prophecies are now being fulfilled in the third dispensation. And if you haven't been paying attention, we are in it, far into it. The parabolic mystery of the kingdom has been brought back. People are speaking the language. It's being understood again. And not too many people even really realize what I'm talking about right now. There is a poetic language that goes through all of the scriptures. It's how we actually verify that it was inspired. And when you know and you hear that inspired language coming out of people's mouths, know that the kingdom is near you. This is the time we're in. This is the time when the righteous will shine as bright as the stars in the sky. This is what's going to happen. So choose you today which side you're going to be on. Are you going to shine as bright as the stars in the sky, or are you going to burn like the wicked in the chaff in the fire of hell? You choose. Jason, I'll give you the last words and I'll play us out.
Yeah. Great stream. Thank you to Kat and Qnfee for giving us these opportunities to show people how the stereographic map works and how you guys are shilled out. And we welcome more of this because we're going to go on a tirade proving to people that we're in a simulation for a while. So thank you for tuning in. We'll probably see you all live this Sunday night on the Limitless Channel, 8 p.m. Central. Go Team Yahawashi.
Only Beyond Flat Earth on the Yahawashi News Network. You're gonna